Hey, what's going on? I'm Jeff.
And I'm Chuck from the band Simple Plan, and you're listening to Rock Zone.
Na kus řeči s Frankem.
Nazdar bando, zdraví vás Frank z Rock Zone 105.9 a vítám vás u dalšího dílu pořadu Na kus řeči s Frankem. Dneska moje pozvání přijali bubeník a kytarista kapely Simple Plan, čili Chuck a Sebastian. Co byste měli o Simple Plan vědět? Jsou to Kanaděni, mají za sebou 6 desek a jsou to špičky v punk rocku, potažmo pop-punku. A my se teď pojďme podívat právě na ten rozhovor.
First thing I have to ask you, how much excited for today's show are you? Back in Czech Republic after like four or 5 months or so.
Yeah, it was very quick. We were there with Sum 41 last fall. It was amazing, but we always love coming back here, man. The fans are super passionate about rock music, and this is a great festival. So many awesome bands, and yeah, man, like all the European festivals, being outside, playing to so many people, it never gets old. Like we've been doing it for a long time, but I don't know, you can't beat it. It's great. Okay. How do you feel?
I feel great. The only thing is, the only problem that I have is that we're not visiting Prague right now, which is, sad.
We'll be back.
Yeah. So, and next obvious topic that we have to discuss is your latest album, Harder Than It Looks, which was released last year. And I know that it has been said a lot before about the album. But what do you think about the reception so far? Both from critics, from fans, if you read the critics and criticism about the albums, how do you feel about it?
You know what? I think the reception was really, really great, and we wanted to make this record for our fans, and we wanted to kind of throw back to the energy of what Simple Plan's known for and the sound that we're known for, but at the same time, we also wanted to kind of push the boundaries, to keep things interesting for us as musicians. So I think we kept the balance really well. I think it's probably our best record yet, and our fans seem to enjoy them very much. We're playing live songs, we're playing some new songs now, and it's really catching on. So I mean, you know what? That's what really matters, is that your fan base gets engaged. Every time you release a record, and that the records just don't come through and not necessarily grab their attention, which is not the case this time. So it's good. I think we've achieved everything we set out for it to do.
Yeah, I think more important than anything, it's we're proud of it. We're very proud of it, and we love playing the songs. And even after it, we wrote these songs like almost 4 years ago now, 3-4 years ago. But with the pandemic and everything, it took a while to release the record, and we're still absolutely not sick of playing these songs. Like it still feels new and fresh and exciting, which I think is a good sign. It just shows you that the record is going to age pretty well, and I think in 10 years we're going to look back and say, this was a very important record in our career.
And on that note, it took you 6 years to release this album. Why that long?
Because we lost 3 years to the pandemic. That's one thing. Good excuse, right? It's not bad. It takes us a long time to make records. We're not the kind of band that just, finishes a tour or writes on the road. I think we needed some kind of a break after touring, to get the record going. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of, kind of thinking in which direction we should be taking. And then in the studio, we take time. We actually got back together as a band. Instead of sharing files online, we went to the same physical place and made a record together, which also takes time. It's not the most efficient way of doing things, but it's definitely something that we like to do. And I think it makes for that sound that you get. When you hear the record, it sounds like a Simple Plan record played, by the guys that are in the band, and it's a very, I think it's an important process, but it takes time.
Yeah, I think we come from a bit of an old school perspective where records are a big statement in the band's career. So we rather, when we make one, we want it to be exactly what we want to say at that point in our career, So I think that takes a bit more time than just throwing together 10 songs quickly so you can get back on the road and play more shows. So yeah, it makes sense for us. That's kind of our pace, and our fans, I think they wish they had a bit more music, but they're cool with it, because when it comes out, they're like, it was worth all the waiting.
I can't even remember half the songs, so listen, it's just, it's already a line.
Yeah, it's hard to make the set list right now.
Yeah, right.
It's so difficult, so I can only imagine if we had 9 or 10 records, it'd be hell.
That's true. But this album put you back on the radar, basically, back on the saddle. So, what's next in the Simple Plan camp? You have any future plans, like something lined? I know that you released a new album, you are touring right now, but is there something special? I don't know, because maybe next year, I think next year, it's next year, right? You are celebrating 25 years.
25 years of being in a band, which is crazy. You know, it's hard to even conceptualize 25 years that we've been doing this, but I think, you know, because of the pandemic and because of all that, like, we're still trying to catch up and play everywhere that we want to play. You know, we haven't been to Australia since then. Like, it's been almost 6-7 years now. We haven't been to South America. There's a lot of places that we want to hit still, so a lot of touring still in store. But I think, yeah, next year it is a big milestone, so we're already starting to contemplate doing something a bit special. But I think where we're at in our career, it's like, keep touring, keep playing shows, keep trying to be creative, keep trying to put out new music. That's still very important, and we don't want to be stuck in the past. We don't want to be sort of become a band that's solely about the nostalgia. Like, we know that some people love our first and second record, and that's, you know, and all the records that we've done in the past, and we're proud of that. We embrace that. We're not running away from it, but at the same time, we want to keep being active. So yeah, new music, we're looking into the vaults. Maybe we'll have to release some stuff that we have already that hasn't been released for our hardcore fans. And then from there, I don't know, man, like, make new songs, play new places we never played before, and go back to the places that we know that people love the band, like here in Czech Republic, and, you know, keep going. But yeah, next year we might have to do something special. It's a pretty big milestone.
So there are no plans so far for the anniversary?
We're talking about it, but
I don't know.
We can't tell you.
Plans, so
Can't tell you.
Okay.
Just yet.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the genre that you are playing, because you are still under the hood of the punk rock. And last year we witnessed here a phenomenal show of a band called Neck Deep. And many people are saying that the punk rock itself is having a renaissance of itself right now in past few years. And I would like to ask you, since you are playing this genre kind of, and you are one of the pioneers of this genre, how do you feel about it? Do you think that this is true, that punk rock is right now where it should be and it's on the top of itself?
I don't know if it's at the top. I think it's going to keep growing, you know? I think it's one of those genres that has staying power, because, you know, the genres that kind of go and come are very, you know, there were times when you would get like the super dark and introspective music, and we just got out of such a dark phase, you know, in our history. I think people now, a little like the swing era came after the war, you know, now people want to have fun and just, you know, reminisce about their great moments of their lives, you know, that this music was a soundtrack to. So I think that's partly why it's so successful now, but it's always been there, you know. We've been playing Warped tours, you know, since the beginning of the band, and yeah, you would see some years that would not be as successful, but in general, I would say that there was always people very eager, you know, to listen to punk rock, pop punk, and all, you know, the other forms of those genre. So I think it's a very healthy time now. We're very proud of it. We're stoked to be, you know, as you're saying, you know, we were there in the early days or in the middle of this whole, you know, genre. So it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how everybody likes to say that they like to write off this style of music. Oh, it's, you know, it's not gonna stay. It's, but there is a timelessness to the energy and the angst that you hear in the lyrics, and how melodic it is. It's a style that somehow refuses to die, and I think what's exciting is seeing new generations of people being influenced, you know, by bands like us, and you're seeing it, you know, there's a whole new, like, even younger than Neck Deep, like, I mean, bands that are coming out now, like it's their first record, second record. A lot of young girl artists are also coming out and making really exciting music, you know, and they all say they're influenced by, you know, the wave of pop punk that we were a part of with Sum 41, Good Charlotte, Blink 182, you know. So I think that's exciting because they put out music, their own version of that, and then we hear it, the bands of that era, and we're like, oh, that's such an interesting take. And then it influences us, and there's like this whole kind of like big interaction between all the generation, and then what we do next will be influenced by what they did, and it's kind of like it's it's really cool to see it constantly evolving. But I think the reason why it's around and it's gonna have staying power is because it's honest, it's real subject matters that everybody goes through, you know, and like at whatever age, you know, you're gonna deal with heartache, you're gonna deal with, you know, like big disappointments, you're gonna deal with like the joy of just on a big summer day driving around. Like it's all very like universal themes, but it's played with energy and it's contagious when you hear it, you know. There's just something to it that just feels like it's rebellious. So I think every young generation can relate to it because they love that feeling, you know. So I think that's why it has still some relevance, you know.
That was a good answer. Thank you so much, guys.
Pleasure.
We will leave it on that.
Thank you very much.
Those were Simple Plan. Be sure to check them out all over the internet. Listen to their music, buy their merch, and visit their shows. They'll be back soon, I think. So be sure to check them out. And I will see you on the next episode. Goodbye.